everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Geek Remix Podcast. Today we're going to be going over our 2018 games list with some anticipated games for 2019. Just want to be, my name is Stacy.
And I'm Mari, and in case you're watching on YouTube, I'm using Wallpaper Engine as the background, and I just looked up Hatsume Miku, so... And there's a girl with...
I think they've seen her before on a podcast.
No, this is a new one.
Oh,
that that I never before
seen
Hatsume Miku wallpaper. So...
So, the games that we're going to be talking about are some of the major Let's Plays and videos that we did from last year, so this doesn't cover... This is not, like, every game that came out in 2018.
Yeah, because we can't, like, even if we play games all the time, I don't think it's fair to say that we have a Games of the Year rewards thing.
Yeah,
Where this is what we want to say about video games.
This is, like, what we want to say about the games that we played, not necessarily which one is the best out of every game that came out. Because obviously we didn't play everything, and we can't even... we wouldn't even be able to spend time talking about every single game that we did play. Mm-hmm. So this is just some of them. All right? Mm-hmm. So, first up, I thought we could talk about the Life is Strange Before the Storm bonus episode that came out around springtime of last year. Mm-hmm. So that was the episode, for those of you who might not remember, with young Max and Chloe, mm-hmm. which I had mixed feelings about that before it came out, because I was like, oh, like, what could we really...
And then guess what? It was to make you feel even worse.
Yeah, and then guess what? It was an emotional roller coaster, like every Life is Strange thing that comes out. God damn you! But it was...
I'm still glad we did it, but it was like, end on, like, an okay, like... Oh wait, that was the end of Before the Storm. They're like, and then it was okay, and then they're like, remember she gets fucking murdered, and I was like, I remember.
No, Before the Storm does the same thing, because they're like, remember they had this adorable friendship, and then Max abandons Chloe for years.
I know. and like, what? And then it just ends with Chloe laying on the floor crying, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I still really, really enjoyed it, though. It was just super fun to get to see their friendship with the pirate ship, and yeah, let's look at some more. So, I don't. What else did you what did you like about it?
I liked that it was friendship. It really encapsulated the essence of two kids doing just kid stuff.
Yeah,
and it really also showed how clever and smart Chloe can be when she's in an environment where she's supported and loved.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people are like, bleh, Chloe, and it's like, you know,
she's just angry, you know.
But when she's in an environment where she's supported and loved, she came up with like this really cool thing, and she had all these ideas. They set a bomb off in her room.
Next up, I thought we could talk about the two of these together, even though they came out at different points in the year. We had Super Seducer 1 and Super Seducer 2. So, I love how when the first one came out, we had no idea it was going to be this, like, I just remember kind of...
I'll just have Pepsi Man on.
Pepsi Man.
Okay. This is the same energy as Super Seducer.
Yeah.
Super Seducer, I mean... It's the worst, and it definitely isn't helpful, but also, I never want it to stop.
I want there to be more of them.
I want the Super Seducer series to go on forever.
Yeah.
And I think we learned a valuable lesson this year in that, you know, you can't stop shitty... I hate to use the word problematic because people have very emotional reactions to that. And... Yeah, the guy took the Pepsi can out of his crotch and pretended that the Pepsi is his penis.
Wow, okay. This is, all right.
Sorry to anyone just listening to this. You must be very confused.
Yeah.
But I think we learned a valuable lesson in that you can look at something that you consider to be harmful or unhelpful, I guess. Yeah, harmful, ranging from harmful to unhelpful, and be like, all right, I'm going to look at it in depth and then reply to each of these stances that you're taking and say why you're wrong or why you're right and how this can be harmful or how this can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a valuable lesson in learning how to deal with media that's kind of shitty without just shutting it down and being like, have you heard, it's awful.
Yeah.
Which, you know, not everybody is obligated to put the effort into watching something that's going to make them feel like shit.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we said this a bunch of times, like, while we were actually playing it. That was, like, us playing it and responding to it, like, bit by bit is how we chose to respond.
Everybody's response to it is valid.
Yeah, so if you're the type of person who's like, no, I just want to boycott it and, like, not pay attention to it at all and not, like, participate, that is also completely fair.
Wait, whoa, hold on. Whoa. Super Mario Rule 63. What is Rule 63?
I don't know.
We have to Google that before I click on whatever that was.
Okay.
Rule 63.
Gender swapped.
Oh, okay. Then it's fine. We can have that. It's fine. This is Twitch out loud.
That's Super Mario right there. Okay.
After eating a big mushroom.
Okay. So, and then we had Super Seducer 2, which I feel like was really interesting because, at least when we were playing it, I got the distinct impression that some of it took into account, like, specific feedback notes that we had given during our Let's Play.
Unless we were, like, losing our minds.
I mean, it's also possible that a bunch of other people said
the same
things, and so that they chose to, or that they chose to do it on their own. But there were a bunch of things that we had talked about, like, for instance, having segments from a woman's perspective, having, like having seduction scenarios, like, where you
for ladies
who
are trying to get dudes. And the third one, I want to see what their hot take is going to be for lesbians.
Oh, boy.
I want to know.
Oh, man, that actress in Super Seducer 2
She was great.
She stole the show, in my opinion.
And not to shit on Richard LaRuna, but yes to shit on him. But, like, I'm not saying his jokes weren't bad, because I don't know if your jokes were good or bad. I just know that you weren't committing to your jokes because you kept getting embarrassed halfway through. And I have to say, that's part of the seduction tactic, and you were failing your own seduction shit.
Yeah, that actress was 100% committed, and those scenes were so much better for it.
Yeah, for committing to the bit.
Mm-hmm.
What's next on our list?
You may recognize this game, Paranormal, which was the Geek Remix Dating Sim. I figured we could just...
Featuring also Manga Binks, Hoodie Panda, and
Laura
Todd.
K. Buzz.
Yeah, Laura K. Buzz, and Todd from PBG Hardcore. So, yeah, first 2 episodes are out. Tessa's still working out the bugs and stuff. You can pay what you want for it, and you can also support Tessa's Patreon for $1 a month to be able to have access to all the updates.
Access to the updates, and also I think she does early access for people who are like
patrons.
Yeah.
So the full game is not going to come out on Steam like in totality until all 5 chapters are out. But so far, I really like it. It's a dating sim. So far, you've only had the slightest hint at like
actual dating.
At actual dating, the majority is actually about, I guess, being an alien or something. I don't know.
Well, we don't know. That's kind of like
the mystery.
It's the mystery that's being unraveled. Is that there's something with the player character. There's something going on that we don't even know. Okay, so Tess didn't give us like a whole like script and plot for this game and run it past us. She was just like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Can I put you in it?
Oh, Tess is also working on Ace Jam 2019, and hopefully we'll be able to play their game. So Tess is asexual, and we ace stan, no matter what type of ace. I know there's a whole discourse to it. We won't bring it up. All we will say is, or I will say, is ace people are valid and belong in the LGBT plus community, and fight me.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think, because, I think that the whole deal with like the LGBT plus community is that, to me, it is gender and sexuality expression that falls outside of the
heterosexual,
heteronormative sphere. So, you know, whether even if that's, you know, your
and before somebody, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but every time somebody brings that up, they go, "Oh, so you think pedophiles should be in there?" And I'm like, "No, not pedophiles. Why do they bring it up?"
Pedophile's not a sexuality.
Yeah, pedophile is like being like saying being a rapist is a sexuality.
Yeah.
Because the definition of pedophilia is not getting consent from somebody. So it's like saying somebody who is a rapist, that's a sexuality. It's not. It's a disorder, and I'm going to stand by that.
So, so if you want to play the first 2 chapters of Paranormal, you can find that on Itch.io. I really enjoyed what she did with her characters. I think they're very adorable, and the art is very cute. And there's like what do you call it? The sound, the music. It's like
The Sound of Music. No, okay, yes.
The Sound of
the
Music.
The music is by Mag.Low, and he is very good at making the music. It's very chill vibes to Paranormal too.
Yeah,
chill vibes to Paranormal too.
Chill vibes. So the next one is one of the games that I enjoyed the most from last year, and that's the new God of War game. So,
What?
No, I was just getting distracted by what you were doing. So the new God of War game follows Kratos as him and his son Atreus go on a journey to scatter the ashes of Atreus' mother. I really liked what they did with this. They have Kratos being older, and it's in the Norse pantheon.
He's matured as a person and grown as a person. I think that's very interesting because I feel like it reflects a lot about how games have also matured.
Yeah, one of the things that they talked to Cory Barlog about before this game was how it reflects kind of like how a lot of the developers, we talked about this too when we like first started playing the game, that it was like, it seemed like since the developers are, you know, that worked on those first games have gotten older, that this kind of reflects like a different, that's really cool, that effect.
I don't know if you guys people are listening are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Sorry, but there's runes coming out of my mouse cursor because I'm changing the background to be thematic with the games we're talking about.
Yes. But since the developers are older, they're kind of, you know, maybe thinking more about, like, fatherhood and about their place in the world, and I think the game really reflects that. I thought that the gameplay seemed fun, and they kind of take you through different worlds in, like, the Norse mythology with different creatures. The one thing I think I maybe would have liked to see more of is variation in, like, the monsters.
Yeah, a little more variation in the monsters. But here's the thing. I understand that there's limited budget for everything, and I think I enjoyed the fact that they spent more on the level designs and the environments, the cutscenes, the mocapping, and the voice acting. So I'll take that sacrifice, you know?
And I feel like if you have to choose one thing to maybe, you know, I mean, like, the monster design was still good. It was just that you fought the same monster a couple different times instead of having, like, a wildly different thing every single time you had a boss battle. And I think...
Because one of the things I majorly remember I haven't played God of War, the original, since I was a kid.
But it's the fight with the statue dude, right?
Yeah, you get really unique, huge boss battles, and but, yeah, you still felt like you were changing really big areas. It was just more puzzles than boss battles, so it's fine.
Well, and they had the World Serpent, who
my big baby.
The scenes with the World Serpent were super cool.
Yeah, I
it just made
him.
You feel so small.
Who's my baby?
Yeah,
I love him. He's a big boy. He's like I get the same feeling that I look at him when I see a big dog.
Yeah.
You see him, you're like, that's a big boy.
That's a big baby.
That's a big baby boy.
Next up is everyone's favorite, Detroit Become Human, which I feel like people either really loved or just really hated that game. For the Connor and Hank storyline alone,
that was really great.
That was really great. And I mean...
Here's the thing. Here's another one of those games where there were a lot of really problematic issues in it. And because we played it, we were able to be like, hey, here's the good parts, here's the negative parts, here's the things that people have issues with, so we can give voices to everybody who's feeling this way. Mm-hmm. And I felt like we did gain a lot by playing it and understanding and, like, listening to the people in the comments and learning their point of view on why they feel certain ways about different characters and different story points.
And what they're doing, yeah.
And we were able to, like, validate that and explain to people who didn't understand why people would feel this way. Mm-hmm. And then other people were like, I can't believe you're listening to people and understanding them. I can't believe this shit. But anyway, Connor and Hank, they're great.
I mean, that was honestly one of my favorite games from last year. I really enjoyed it, even though there were parts of it that I was just kind of like, ooh.
Well, it's a David Cage game. I mean, what do you...
Yeah. Well, but, like, we fully anticipated that we were going to just laugh our asses off all the way through. And there were actually, like, parts that, like, really got me, like, in the feels, mm-hmm. you know?
But for real, we should validate that David Cage did take a lot of real things that happened during the Black Civil Rights Movement and in current Black Civil Rights movements, and then literally said, this game is not about that. And so that was kind of like not cool, and if you're not into that, I understand not wanting to play the game and not wanting to buy it and all that stuff, and I just wanted to point that out because I don't want to skim over it.
Yes. I do want to tell we have a funny story about the recording for this. So this game came out at midnight the night before I was leaving for my trip to Japan. Mm-hmm. And so I had to leave for the airport at 5:30 in the morning on Friday. At 11 p.m. on Thursday, the game unlocks, and, like, when we found out what the release date was going to be, we were like, oh, crap, like, we have to get a code for this, like, what are we going to do? We tried to get a code. Of course, like, nobody at Quantic Dream cared or whatever. So we were like, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll just stay up all night and play it, and then Stacy will just sleep on the plane to Japan.
And then everyone kept yelling at me, specifically, being like, release more episodes! I'm like, I cannot. Stacy's in a different country. Like, I have to release it, like, 2 videos, 1 video a day until she comes back. Like, I don't have a choice. Like,
yeah.
And they're like, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, they're giving me so much. You can't do anything.
Well, and we told people that. So at the end of the last episode that I recorded, before my trip to Japan, I was like, okay, everybody, like, I'm going to the airport now, like,
I've been recording for 6 hours straight.
I've been recording for 6 hours straight, and, like, I am exhausted. So I had gotten up for work on Thursday, gone to work all day, came home, packed up all my stuff, played Detroit Become Human, went to the airport, hopped on a plane, hopped on another plane, and then I finally got to go to sleep for, like, 4 hours, and, like, pretty much after being up for, like...
36 hours, probably?
Yeah.
More than that.
More than that. Being up for, like, 40 hours before I got to sleep.
Really did great for your bipolar disorder.
Yeah, it was pretty...
Really was great for Stacy's mental health.
I'm not going to complain about it too much, though, because it did mean that my sleep schedule...
Got reset
much faster than everybody else's.
Oh, so then really... Well, so you weren't the grumpy one. They were the grumpy ones.
And here's the funny part. So we had 3 flights to get to where we were going to in Japan, because the first place that we went to was Nagasaki. Mm-hmm. So we had to fly from Chicago to Canada, Canada to Tokyo, Tokyo to Nagasaki. By the time we got on the Nagasaki plane, everybody else was, like, dying and, like, dragging themselves, and me, because I've been up for so long, was just like, all right, we're in Japan, I'm so excited, like, and everyone's like, oh my god, just, like, can you just, like, relax? Everyone's, like, sleeping on the plane, mm-hmm. and it's, like, 11 p.m. in Japan, and I'm, like, just, like, sitting there. But you know how I get when I stay up too much?
Yeah, you go into a manic episode.
I go into a manic episode, and I'm just kind of, like, bopping around.
Using...
like...
using your mental illness for evil.
Yeah.
Scammed.
Yeah. I do roll with an advantage on times where that's necessary. But, yeah, I was really happy that we got to play it before I went on my trip. Because...
The guy who played this guy, he has, like, a mega good Twitch channel now.
Oh, yeah.
He's got, like, 1,000 viewers per stream now.
So, what is his name?
Ryan Dish something.
No.
Yeah, it's
Brian.
Brian. Are you sure?
Brian Deschart. No, that's his
last
name.
I know. Okay, let's move on to the next game.
Okay. Captain Spirit. So Captain Spirit was the I guess sort of like a prequel episode following a different character from the main character that was going to be in Life is Strange 2. They didn't give us we didn't get too much information from Don't Nod before the release of Captain Spirit about, like, exactly who this character was in relation to the...
You got an early key, though. That was nice.
No, I just mean, they didn't tell us, like, oh, this is who this character is. Mm-hmm. They just kind of were like, play it and see.
I'm pretty sure Michael Kosh, I can't remember his last name. Michael, one of the lead director for Life is Strange 2, I think this is he said he related a lot to this kid, and then basically I think this is my interpretation. This is not canon. Don't be like, Mari said this, so it's true.
They're gonna say it.
They're
gonna do it.
I'm pretty sure this is his
childhood self.
His childhood self.
Yeah.
And then I see people being like, is this fetishization of abuse? And it's like, okay, I don't know. But maybe a lot of people make games these days to express something that's in their life and stuff, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
How is it finished? It does, it portrays abuse, but I don't think that it puts a positive spin on it at all.
I think sometimes people just want video games to just be about nothing forever.
Yeah. So... Can't have politics in video games.
Can't have anything in video games. Just enter the video game and do nothing. Yeah. Just shoot. Just kill things. But that's political. No, it's not.
I hear Mario's about late-stage plumber capitalism.
Mario?
I'm just kidding.
It is. How'd you know?
So Captain Spirit follows a young boy who, basically is playing around in his house, and we get the sense that his dad is maybe going through a bit of a tough time and not handling it very well and not taking care of his son in the best way that he can. And then at the end of that game, we get kind of a glimpse into Life is Strange 2 characters, which everyone was kind of theorizing about what that was going to look like. And then, of course, we played Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, which introduced us to Sean and Daniel, who are two Mexican-American, right?
They're Mexican-American,
yeah.
Yeah.
Two Mexican-American brothers, who,
bad things happen to them.
Bad things happen. And
it really bugs me that people are like, this doesn't happen. And I'm like, first of all, have you been reading the news? The news is real. Second of all, I'm not trying to say, because I dated someone, I've, absorbed their energies or anything, but I was with a Mexican-American for 7/8 years, and we used to go on vacations together all the time in the cheapest way possible by taking, road trips to, bumblefuck nowhere and getting and playing on the lake, the cheapest possible ways we could do it. And people treat you way differently than what you would expect if you're Mexican American, even in northern Wisconsin or in the Midwest and stuff, where just if you go out into the country, people don't like it.
Yeah.
They get kind of shitty. And on top of that, everybody I talked to who played the game who has been homeless was like, yeah, that's what it's like to be homeless. People target you for whatever reason that they're mad about because they know that you can't defend yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, I was talking to, I don't have their permission, so a person, and they're like, yeah, people will target LGBT plus youth, homeless youth.
Because they're vulnerable.
Because they're vulnerable for, like, trying to get them to do, like, sex acts. And people will target homeless youth who are minorities to enact their, like, racist rage. So, I don't understand why people think that somebody who needs to enact their rage is going to pick two kids that they know can't defend themselves and are not going to be protected by the system. Like, people aren't going to just be racist to you if they don't think they're going to not get away with it. That's how abusers are. Abusers only abuse people that they know they can get away with it for. So it's not like... And they even depicted that racist guy as a multidimensional person because they look at the wall and he's like, oh, I bet you think you're a great person because you're a good family guy. And he probably was. He probably is a great family guy. He probably is a good person in the community. But he has that rage inside of him that he wanted to take out on somebody that couldn't defend themselves legally or physically and had no way of reaching out to somebody else to help them. That's how, like, it works to be homeless. People target homeless people for whatever reason they want because they know homeless people can't defend themselves. So that's what, like, I'm just like, but you guys don't have no idea what you're talking about when you say this doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I, when we played that, I heard from, some of our viewers that are, Mexican American, and they were just talking about, like, yeah, like, this pretty much, like, lines up with my experience of, like, strangers yelling at me for no reason.
Like, I wasn't kidnapped, but, like, this is the general idea, and it just sucks.
And another thing I want to point out is that, when you see, stories, like, in media about people that are, like, outside of, like, your experience, just because, like, these things have never happened to you or because you've never personally seen it happen doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. So it's kind of like the same thing when, some men might say, like, oh, like, I've never seen, like, women deal with, like, street harassment. And it's like, well, no, but...
Because you're not a woman.
Yeah, well, but also, like, just because you've never seen it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It just means that you've never seen it, and you just, you need to just trust people, like, when they're telling you about their experience that...
And sometimes people are like, oh, that sounds so unfair, so therefore it sounds unreasonable that it would happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's why it sucks, because something really unfair is happening. People get murdered, like...
Yeah.
And people believe that because they're dead, like, and then statistically, 1 in 5 women get raped.
I don't know. I think that...
And then also 1 in 7 men get raped. Okay, I don't know. But, like, statistically, things happen. Bad things happen to people. All the time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In the range of 15 to 20%.
15 to 20%. And also, men get raped too. I don't want to invalidate that. Sorry. Didn't mean to invalidate that.
So, and then we played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which one of the things that I liked about that game, I mean, it's another Tomb Raider game, so, like, the gameplay is fun. I enjoyed it.
It's fun. It's good. It's solid.
Yeah, it's solid. There are, of course, like, one of the things that I really liked about this game in particular is that it kind of, like, addresses the whole, like, Lara, like, what are you doing?
My daddy says it should be in my house.
Well, it's like, Jonah is kind of telling her, you think you're fixing all of this and you're actually making things so much worse. Like, if you hadn't done these things, like, you wouldn't have messed everything up. And so coming in here thinking that you are, like, the savior character, because that's something that the series kind of has issues with, is that
Check this out.
Oh my god.
Would you rather have here? Somehow it's sexier when one of her boobs is showing. Tomb Raider X-ray. Hold on. I kind of want to know what that's about. I'm gonna put that on the second one just to see what that is. Tomb Raider X-ray. Is that like if I put my mouse over it, it exposes the boob for my pleasure?
I don't know. So this game...
You're curious too now.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Okay, but I mean, they can't see that, so this isn't really like a good use of our time.
Okay, sorry. But there's a... Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay. What else did you think of Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
Nothing to complain about.
Okay. I did like a lot of the environments in that game.
Yeah, pretty environments.
Yeah, it was pretty. The puzzles were good. Okay, next up is Red Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that we did not finish. I think we got maybe like, 6 hours into it?
It wasn't for us, you know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people...
Here's the thing. We were talking shit during the Game Awards because we were just being sassy and just whatever. And everyone was like, stop doing that to my game. And I'm like, I understand loving a game a lot and wanting to defend it all the time. But I don't think Rockstar Games needs you to do it.
Well, and the thing is that, like, I didn't hate Red Dead. I think a lot of people walked away from that thinking that we genuinely, like, hated the game.
No, it was just, like, okay.
I mean...
I thought it was just okay.
And the thing is also is that, like, I enjoyed it, and I would enjoy playing more of it. Unfortunately, when games are really a lot slower paced like that, you know, when you're taking, like, a 5-minute horse ride to go from place to place...
And I understand if, like, you like that.
Yeah,
too.
It's kind of like the Fallout games. Like, we kind of did the same thing with Fallout 4, where it's like we played it for a little while, and then it's like, okay, we're just kind of like wandering around, and when there's a lot of downtime, it's hard for us, like, just from like a logistics, like, Let's Play perspective.
Yeah, if somebody is a solo Let's Player, they can justify that because they can make videos all day. Stacy and I can only record like once a week.
Yeah.
For a few hours. So we have to really take our, choose what's valuable to our time.
Yeah. And like, not just valuable, but, like, what makes the most sense. And, like, so it also means that we end up prioritizing stuff, even when it's longer, that we're really, really loving, you know? Like God of War. It's a longer game, but we were really enjoying all of it.
And it was denser, I guess.
And, yeah, and it was more...
And okay. So one of my criticisms, and I understand why they did this, because people have a huge erection for realism. It's just like the movement. I just feel like this happens a lot in a lot of AAA games these days, where it just feels like everything is so slow.
Oh, like the looting mechanism?
But even in just not Red Dead Redemption, sometimes I'm just like so frustrated with how AAA games are just designed. Everything just feels like everything looks so good, but everything takes forever to do, and it's just like so sluggish and just
Well, it's kind of like, you know, manage your hunger, manage your thirst, manage your horse. And if you're not somebody who is, like, really having a good time with that, it just makes the game feel very bogged down.
Yeah, it felt when I was playing the game, I felt like I was in one of those dreams where you're trying to run, but your feet are falling through the ground, so you have to, like, run through water.
It's like your walking speed, how you're just kind of, like, moseying along.
Yeah. That's like a gameplay mechanic kind of thing. I'm just like, it just takes so long to do anything. What happened to, like, Halo 2, where I just zoom down a hallway, shoot everybody, and zoom out? Like, that was great. I missed that.
And I wish that the looting animation really killed me.
Yeah,
because it's like, turn the body over, stand the guy up, pat him down, take his stuff, look at the stuff, put the body down, like, for every single body. And you might be looting, like, 12 bodies. Mm-hmm. And so then you don't want to loot the bodies because you're standing there. Like, you really want to just kind of, like, press a button and everything just, like, it's less realistic to have everything just, like, zip to you. But, like...
Please just do it. Like,
please just do that, you know?
I have the same problem with other AAA games. Like, let's say a game I really liked was The Last of Us. Just the whole, when you want to turn when you're running, oh, Joel has to pivot his body, turn his body, and then move away. And you're like, oh, like, I understand why it would look weird. It just, there's gotta be a better way.
Yeah.
I get it. You want this to look so good for people who don't really follow video games. But...
well, I think, you know what it is that, and this is definitely not, we're kind of, like, talking about games beyond Red Dead at this point, I think. But I think sometimes games, when they get so focused on, like, realism, they kind of miss things that you should do just to make gameplay better, you know? And not having things just take you the amount of time that they would take in a real life situation. It's less realistic, yes, but it's much more enjoyable to play when you make improvements like that. You know, it's like for a Fallout game, you know, when you talk to people and they're just like, oh yeah, all you have to do is install these 20 mods to make the gameplay, like, really great. And you're just like, why should I have to do that?
How about you make the game good?
Yeah. Okay, so next one is the Shape-Shifting Detective, which, for those of you who aren't familiar, that was the FMV game that we played. It had a lot of the same... If you haven't watched it yet, I would definitely go check it out. It had a lot of the same actors as Contradiction, which everybody really loved. Also had some of the same actors from The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, which we played but did not come out last year, so we're not covering that here. But the Shape-Shifting Detective, you basically play as this detective who has this, like, ability to shift into different people, and then you're going around interviewing people in this town to figure out there's been a murder, there's going to be another murder. We're trying to figure out, like, who and what is going on. So I really liked that one. I thought that was fun. Okay.
What?
No, I was just laughing at the desktop. What did you like about it?
Everything. I liked it. I just like FMV games because they're just the right level of cheesy.
Yeah.
I just like the cheese.
And then I thought you could talk for a bit about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
I liked it. Solid game. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're making it super casual, so because they got rid of the random battles for...
Yes.
And honestly, I was like, oh, God, they're getting rid of the random battles. But I remember every time I played fucking Pokemon, I was like, alright, the random battles is going to take 13,000 years to do.
Yeah.
It really streamlines the game, and it didn't take anything away because you still have to fight all of the trainers.
To get any progression.
And it streamlines the game in a way that didn't take away from anything. And they added in a bunch of other stuff that was really cool and fun. Just a fun thing. And I hope that they give you the option to do that, but still let you have the random battles. I think a lot of the people who just didn't pick up Pokemon Let's Go Eevee / Let's Go Pikachu are just... You're missing out, because I totally understand your argument, but if you played it, you'd be like, oh wow, yeah, this is better.
I would just think it also makes it easier if you're the type of person who is thinking to yourself, okay, I can play this for 20 minutes, and I would like to do, you know, like, say if you're just, you know, thinking, I want to just, like, sit down and play this for a little while, blah, 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 blah. When you don't have, I don't know, I just remember sometimes, like, sitting down and getting caught in a bunch of, like, random stuff, and then I'm like, oh, like, I don't have time to play anymore, and I still didn't get to do anything cool because I just, like, dealt with random battles for, like, the whole time. So maybe they're kind of trying to broaden the audience that can appeal to by making it so that the player has more control. The next one is The Return of the Obra Dinn, which was that indie game where you play as an insurance inspector, I think, and you're given this was an indie game. You're given a like magical compass, I think, and you go onto this ship, and basically something real fucked up happens, and the ship comes back. Everyone's dead except for like 2 people, and so there's nobody who could tell you what happened. But using this magical compass and a journal, you go around the ship, and you can kind of eventually suss out like what happened to all these different people that died, and where they are, because you're supposed to submit. You know, the very end of the game is like submitting insurance adjustments. You get to see based on what happened to everybody. Something that I really liked about this game is that when we first started playing it, I had no idea how far it was going to go. We were thinking like, oh, everyone just got, somebody got shot, somebody fell overboard, normal stuff.
Yeah, no, it went some directions. It went some places.
Because I remember with the first couple murders that we put in, we were looking at all the options, because you're supposed to choose, you're supposed to like figure out what happened to each person and make choices, but it gives you kind of like a list, and we're looking through and we're like, these look like kind of odd choices. What could these be related to? And then as it goes through, you see like more and more weird stuff happening.
Yeah.
And, like, it goes some places. So we ended up cheating at the very end, because we did not want to sit there and do a logic puzzle with an Excel spreadsheet for 5 hours.
No way.
People were giving us a hard time. They were like, it's not a Let's Play if you look up the answers. And
I didn't see that, but I don't give a shit.
No. There was one person who was like, it's not a Let's Play if you look up the answers. And I was like...
Oh, I don't have 10 hours, okay?
Yeah. And do you really want to just sit there and listen to us? Like, I wouldn't want to watch that. So, and we wanted to get to the end of it in kind of a timely fashion. So we saved that till the very end. So like, if you just wanted to skip over that, you can. The next one is probably one of the worst games we've ever played, ever. The Quiet Man.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
It was so bad, but it was also like so good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It managed to function as a game enough for me to experience what the fuck was that, you know?
Yeah. So The Quiet Man was this game that like was quietly released with pretty much no fanfare, because it, the publisher probably looked at it and they were just like, oh no, like we're just gonna like put this out and not say anything about it.
And the thing is, though, the graphics engine looks slick as fuck, but then it's just the same shit.
It's real people.
No, there was one really cool thing where they had it go from a real person, and then the camera pans, and it's an engine, and I was like, that looks
cool.
Great.
Transition.
That was a cool transition, and that's when it ended.
Yep.
And the weirdest thing is that they're like, we're gonna put subtitles for everything you need to know, and the only thing we hear, like, there's no anything. The whole game just no music, nothing. The only thing we hear is this guy talking about how he fucked a lady, and then after that, silence.
So let me explain for people who didn't play this or play or watch this game what it is. So The Quiet Man, the premise, which is cool, is that it is a guy who is deaf, who is basically involved with like some gangsters, and there's like things, there's plot. The plot gets really convoluted and is stupid. But
that's never explained either.
Yeah, but the premise of this guy being deaf and like, oh, you're experiencing the game as a deaf person. Okay, cool. I can get behind that. Unfortunately, what they do is they have this...
They just turn the sound off.
They just turn the sound off, and this person who clearly understands sign language and has like conversations with these people in this game...
Actually, from somebody in the comments was like, I do sign language. They're not saying anything.
Oh my god.
They're just like kind of like shittily saying random words.
Oh my god.
And I was like, Oh, because you would think that, like, characters looking at the person, they're signing, and then the character looks away and someone's trying to warn them, and you would think that would be part of the game. No. It's literally just a normal game, a normal story with the sound turned off. But it's not a normal story because weird things happen. Wait a second. Hold on. How did that guy do the supernatural stuff? Where...
Yeah.
The more you think about it, the more your head hurts, because then it's like, if it was just that, you know what, I'm just going to fucking tell you. If it was just a kidnapping that the lady organized, where's the magical powers coming from? Where'd that come from? Why? That's never explained.
Well,
why is the dad the bird and then you become the bird and everyone's the bird?
And the thing is that at the very end of this, after playing through... and so there's large swaths of this game that just have a conversation that you can't understand, that you're just watching, and, like, nothing's happening. Because they clearly didn't like, set it up thinking, oh, the player's not going to be able to understand this. There's, like, no, like, facial expression acting going on. They're literally just talking to each other. Mm-hmm. And it frustrates me because it's like, you know... Deaf people can understand what's going on.
Yeah, they can read lips.
They can read lips. They can read sign language.
We can understand the words that we are saying.
Yeah.
We were playing as the character. We had no idea what we, the character, were saying.
Yeah. It's just, oh, God. It's just,
but
it's
the Let's
so
Play
bad.
we did, I think we should be really proud because we just said what we thought was being said.
So we made up our own plot.
We made up our own plot, which was better.
Yep.
Because...
Definitely better. And the gameplay was just absolutely atrocious.
Of course it was.
Okay.
Why would it be anything other than that?
So on to something that was much cooler, was Gris, which is the Spanish word for gray. It is also the French word for gray. Oh, so it's Gris, I think.
It's Gris.
Gris, yeah.
It's Spanish,
yeah. But that word is also French, so I keep reading it like it's the French word, but the developers are Spanish. Mm-hmm. So Gris is an interesting game. It's very artistic and beautiful. It's about, you know, depression and mental health, but it's hard to... How would you describe it? It's just a pretty game about, and they keep it really vague, and it's about just not being sad when you're sad. It's about grief. Yeah. I just thought it was very... It's just a really pretty platformer. Yeah. It's a very pretty game with, you know, some light puzzling and going through these different colored worlds. Gave me a very much like a Steven Universe vibe in some places. Mm-hmm. Just the art was really beautiful. So, and there was also Donut County, which you think is a game about holes, and it's actually about capitalism. So, but that was a pretty... I typed in Donut County, and it's anime butts. Yeah, that makes sense. What? Yeah. Donut Hole 2B is 60 FPS. I don't know if you... Oh, shit. What the fuck is... Never mind. I don't... Don't look up donut. What is anime? Yeah. Okay, so Donut County is a game. It kind of reminded us of Katamari Damacy because it scratches that same kind of itch where you're like, oh, I just kind of want to, like, do this little task. And so basically you create... You're a raccoon who is controlling a hole in the ground with an app, and you move the hole around to swallow up things that are on the surface of the planet. And as things fall in, the hole gets bigger and bigger, and so you're gradually working up to being able to swallow up everything. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of like a neat little story that goes along with it. Super fun to play. Definitely kind of like a relaxing game to just sit down and play. Mm-hmm. So when I had asked people if they had questions related to some of the games that we played this year, one of the things that was brought up was that people wanted us to talk about how more and more games are starting to tackle mental health. Mm-hmm. So examples from this year would include Anamorphine, which was a game that we played that was about depression, but also Gris and Night in the Woods, which was from 2017. Night in the Woods was amazing. I know that didn't come out last year, but if you haven't played that yet, I would definitely go check it out. Some parts of that definitely hit you
pretty hard.
Pretty hard, because it just has that kind of feeling of, like, what am I doing? I don't know. It really made me feel that anxiety of, like, what am I doing with my it communicated that anxiety of, like, that you have sometimes where it's like, what am I doing with my life right now? Because the character is kind of, like, stuck in a transitional phase, and they don't know what's going to happen next, and they kind of don't know how to move forward. So I think it's really cool that some of these games are starting to tackle mental health stuff and not, like, in a super traditional way. So
where it's like the twist is they're crazy, and you're like, okay, but they're crazy. But why? They're crazy. That's why. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
So yeah, the twist is they not only are they a serial killer, but they have bipolar disorder. How weird!
Weird, crazy, and you're like, oh,
yeah. So I just also appreciate it when games kind of, you know.
I've been working on a script about mental health in video games, and there's a few examples of people using VR and other stuff to express how it feels to be autistic in the public space, and why sometimes people, the autistic community, I could be wrong about this, so, like, don't, please correct me.
Mari is not speaking for the autistic community.
Yeah, I'm not speaking for the autistic community, because sometimes people with autism can have what can be described as a freak out or a breakdown, where they just, like,
sensory overload.
Yeah, sensory overload, where they just, like, can't take it and, like, start yelling and just, like, doing things to, like, cope with how overloaded they are. And there's some VR experiences that I'm going to talk about in this video that I'm making that properly express how overwhelming that is. So people can understand, oh, this is why somebody, like, I can barely handle this for a minute. I can totally understand why somebody would, like, freak out.
Yeah,
and,
why
like,
somebody would get really upset.
Like, really upset if this was all the time and there was no way of escaping it, you know? So.
Yeah. I know that I do not have autism, but, like, as somebody who can sometimes struggle with anxiety in social situations or in public places, I've gotten a lot better about being able to handle public spaces, but there have been periods of time in my life where I had a really hard time being around lots of people, and it's not a fun experience, and it's really, and, like, I definitely had breakdowns in public multiple times, and people are not always very understanding about why.
And they talk about you as if you can't hear them, and you're like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I don't understand.
There
why
were people that there were people that literally, like, laughed at me in my face, and
I don't understand why people just act like that. It's probably because they're douchebags. That's the answer.
Yes, that's the answer. Oh, because they're awful people.
Yeah, they're just pieces of shit.
Yeah.
The end.
So, to close out, like, maybe let's go over some of our anticipated 2019 games.
Kingdom Hearts 3!
So, hold on. I just want to specify that this is... I'm only looking at games that have a confirmed 2019 release date. So, there's obviously a lot of other ones that are coming out probably in 2019 that we could be here all day talking about a bunch of different, like, stuff that's supposed to be coming out, but I thought we could just stick to the ones that are coming out in the next few months, confirmed release dates, etc., etc. So, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3! Ugh, I am not... Okay, I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I played Kingdom Hearts 2. I played Kingdom Hearts Birth-Based Sleep or whatever for the Game Boy.
Birth-Based Sleep?
I'm not joking around with these names, okay? Like, Birth by Sleep, I think it was called, or Remix, where you play it's on the Game Boy, and then there's But I didn't play Kingdom Hearts 365 divided by 2. Did not play Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. And I'm like, you know what? Just give me 3. And they're like, no. Here's Kingdom Hearts Triple Doop Dop Scream Emo Geometry. And you're like, what does that mean? Like, I just want to play Kingdom Hearts 3. And they're like, no. Here's Kingdom Hearts for the PS Vita that's only been released in Brazil. And if you don't play this, you're not going to understand what's going on. And here's the Organization 13 Nobody Introvert Opposites. And you're like, what?
Can I just read you some of these? You'll know these titles, but for people, okay, Kingdom Hearts 358 divided by 2 over 2 days.
Yes.
By 2 days. Chain of Memories.
Yeah, I played Chain of Memories.
Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance.
Yes. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage.
Exactly.
What the
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. This is the bullshit that me, as of someone trying to love Kingdom Hearts, has to deal with.
Oh, wait. And then there's also Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
Well, because there was Kingdom Hearts 2.5, which was supposed to be like whatever, but then they were like, oh no, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, because now they've added more to pre-pro you for, and you're like, what? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm just like, can somebody just like give me a recap of everything that happened in there?
Oh, you know that there's gonna be people.
No, I think it can't be explained.
It can't be done.
But here's the thing: when you're playing Kingdom Hearts, at some point you just gotta say, this plot doesn't make any fucking sense,
And just go with
and
it.
just go with it, because you played Kingdom Hearts 1. It's like you have to close the Kingdom Heart doors so that we can save pretty much the multiverse, because if we keep the doors open, everything's going to be destroyed by the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
But then in Kingdom Hearts 2, they say, you have to open the doors again. And you're like, wait, why? The nobodies are coming. But, like, if we open the doors, won't the darkness have... Won't we be redoing the problem we had in Kingdom Hearts 1? And they're like, no, you have to close the doors. Okay, now open them. But I'm like, but we had them... What? What? Like, even in Kingdom Hearts 2 in the beginning, I was like, I'm just going to accept this and be okay with all these cameos.
Yep.
Like, I'm just gonna go play with Mulan.
Yeah.
And do my thing.
Just accept all the fun cameos and just go.
Just do it.
Just do
it's
it.
fine.
We will also get more Life is Strange 2 starting at the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about that. So that was what they did, that super cool live action trailer thing for. So it wasn't like a trailer for something we hadn't seen before. It was the voice actors acting out a real scene, that last scene from the end of episode 1.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was really
fun.
cool.
And it was like, you should be spending your resources on taking episode 2. And I was like, guys, just like, relax. It's gonna happen. And I know that waiting sucks, but I'd rather wait for something good than have something be rushed.
Well, and here's the thing, is that whenever they do rush out games and they're crap, the first thing people always say is, why didn't you just wait? Like, why didn't you just spend more time on it? So, I would always They're
probably listening to your feedback and changing the game for you, you buttheads!
I would always rather them take their time and...
Let AJ moan.
Yeah,
He's bored.
He's like, ooh, carpet. Okay, then there's also the Resident Evil 2 remake, which we played the demo of, which I'm pretty excited for.
Mm-hmm.
So, looks pretty good.
I have to edit that as soon as we're done recording this.
Yep. And then we also have Far Cry New Dawn, which was unveiled at the # Game Awards.
Far Cry Girl Apocalypse.
Yeah, the pink apocalypse.
That flowery girl apocalypse.
It looks,
hell yeah.
Yeah, it looks super fun.
They're like, what if we made the apocalypse not fucking look like shit?
What if we made it, what if when all the humans are dead,
everything's better?
Everything's better.
It's fine. It's better.
It's kind of like The Last of Us, where like they're like, oh, all the people are dead, nature takes over, things are pretty again. And then, but like all the people that are still around are like total assholes. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So that looks super cool. And also Devil May Cry 5, which...
Ooh, Devil May Cry, sexy power boys.
I remember we were watching that trailer and you kept being like, oh, did you see that? Oh, did you see that? And I was like, no, because I was so distracted by all the character designs, so distracted by all these beautiful people in this game. I was just...
They really jump on the millennial energy by being like, look at all these people who are like really good at doing what they do, which is a very specific thing, and they're all gorgeous, and they live in a van.
And they live in a van.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
That's that millennial energy.
That's...
Overqualified and broke.
Yeah, overqualified, broke, and gorgeous.
Overqualified, broke, and gorgeous. 2019.
Yeah, and they're probably all bisexual.
2009. Yeah, overqualified, broke, and gorgeous. 2019 energy.
Yep. So, I think that is it for games for today. If you want to keep in touch with me between recordings of videos and stuff, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr at Geek Remix a lot. I do a lot of fashion stuff, cosplays, blah, blah, blah.
Stacy's an Instagram model.
It's true.
And you can find me on Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram at Geek Remix, posting memes about gamers rising up and like pictures of bread that I made.
Yeah.
And AJ.
And yeast.
And yeast. And cooking things and pictures of AJ.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.